speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. It laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna.
Please tell me we have audio. I hope we should have audio. At least, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to try again. We are back. I'm back. It's been crazy couple of weeks. Yay! It's always like this when I start after a few days. Honestly, you know, I haven't streamed for 2 weeks, right? And then somehow my system seems to forget. I don't know. It's cool. I'm just happy to be here. And as I said, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Lots of stories to tell. So we definitely have things to talk about. And we also have some crafting to do. I have been knitting. I have been crocheting, but not on the projects you know, but on the project I end up bringing with me to Denmark. I have it in this bag. But I'm actually at a point where I'm thinking maybe I need to look at the pattern once more because I have a feeling I'm doing something wrong in the next coming 2 rows. So I'm not sure if I will be looking at the water pearl today, but I will tell you how it looks right now. It kind of is looking like this. And it is gorgeous. Absolutely. But I do feel here on the sides I might be having too many regular double crochets somehow. So I need to look if I need to somehow decrease that or if there's anything else. But yeah, so I have been working on that in Denmark. But else crochet-wise, I haven't really been done much. So I frogged the Simply Effective cowl. And Susan is here. And I started knitting on it again. So Lisa says, good morning, Lisa. Thumbs up if you're on the way in. Thank you. Please do the thummies. That would be so much appreciated and so helpful. Reverend says, good morning to everybody, and hope everybody has been doing well over the last fortnight. Indeed, I hope you guys have been well. I have. I've been busy, but I have. Hello, good morning to you, Susan. And Rev says, don't tell Susan, but I made a big yarn purchase. Yarnspiration is running their 40% off sales, and I got a bunch of bitty stripes to make a blanket. Well, I guess if you need yarn, you gotta buy yarn sometimes, right? That means that I have been traveling a bit. I haven't actually, because I frogged a project and I've been knitting it, crocheting a bit, but not like a lot. I've done a bit of everything, so I haven't really used many skeins this month yet. So we really need to make a crack at it. I am though almost. This is my knitting bag that I brought with me this weekend, and I was knitting Friday evening when I was there. And it's more like to keep track of the yarns and so on. But here is the cowl. Let's see if I can keep track of the yarn without tangling it too much. Here's how the cowl's currently looking after I did some changes. And it still wants to curl, but not as much as before. So I think it definitely helped with me giving it some more rows. And as I said, now I just do a regular back and forth in knit rows. So it is not completely the same pattern anymore, but the concept is the same. And this is what I have left of that first half skein, and then I have a full skein left. So I think this is definitely gonna be done and used and gone today. That sounds really realistic. Hopefully before tonight, actually, I would have it used and added the next skein, because then when I have some social time later, I can be knitting. Isn't that a good plan? So that is how that part is looking. I am almost done. There's very little left. So I'm actually debating if we should knit this. So this is gone before I grab another project. As I said, the water pearl I'm probably not going to do today because I really need to look at the pattern, and it is a diagram which is not too ideal here on the live. I also want to really get going and finish the WaffleChic Shrug. There isn't that much to go, but I'm not sure if I'll have enough time to do it today, like to finish it all. And of course, we still have the Heart Collector Shawl. And the Heart Collector Shawl, I have the fringes I need to start doing. Oh, sorry, one moment. Also, don't forget hydration, and maybe that is what I need. Let's see if it's not too warm, my tea. It's on the edge. It's on the edge. It's on the edge. Lisa says she should finish her Esmeralda roll during the stream. I just have to weave in ends and block later today. Well, weaving in ends should be easy peasy to do this stream, right? Susan heard nothing regarding yarn purchases. So I am keen to kind of say let's knit this piece what's left. I am currently on a purl row. And then I am back into a bunch of knitting. And if I just have it to the point where I need to change yarn, I think it's good. And then I used half a skein, which I count towards my consumption. Also, I gave a skein to my mom for the gloves. And I'm not going to count that towards consumption because that's kind of a little bit different. I'm going to remove it from my stash. So in that sense, it's decreased my stash on Ravelry. But it's decreasing without being used by me. So I am removing it from my Ravelry stash, but I am not adding it towards my own usage, if that makes sense, because I'm not the one that's going to be knitting me fingerless gloves from it. So I was thinking, let's see. Yes, oh my dumbbell. That we would put up the W here. We'll put a bit down, you can follow the knitting a little bit. I am definitely not the strongest knitter. As I said, I don't have a lot of yarn left here, so it just makes sense to kind of get that wrapped up, because I really want to make sure that for tonight later, I would be able to, if I feel like it, to knit. We are having a few things that we usually tend to watch on the TV Monday evening when we are home. And I definitely can use a bit of a chill evening. I've been busy. I've been really busy since the last live. So I went indeed to Germany on the 7th of March, where we stayed. And on the 8th of March, we had a competition where I think we did okay. We were really, really close on promoting to the next level for the league. But further than that, it was a good weekend. And then Monday, of course, I traveled to Amsterdam. And while I did bring the crochet stuff with me, I was just so tired when I got to Amsterdam that I just ended up going straight to sleep at the hotel on the Monday evening. So I'd worked all Monday normally. Then Tuesday morning, I worked before the meeting, and then I traveled all the way back home. Wednesday morning, it was time to go to Denmark. And yeah, that was a bit of a travel. That was a bit of a trouble. Rev says here, I have a ton of FOs over the last 2 weeks. I can imagine because you are a quick maker. So you probably have a bunch. I don't remember what the last thing were. I shall also be completely honest. If that was the blanket you made for your wife, or if you weren't completely done with it with the facing yarn. That's kind of some of the last I'm remembering directly, I think. And I'm sitting here and I'm like feeling, should I actually? I feel I should take a cardigan on because now it's cold again. Sun went away, so it gets a bit chillier in the screen in the room. Lisa finished a pair of socks since last time. I haven't finished anything since last time. As I said, I've been dreadfully busy. So we can go back to the amount I've done. Let's see. Rev has been completing 35 skeins or finishing 35 skeins in 2026. I am not even close. I am not even close. I can tell you that. Awesome, Lisa. How far are you? Like, I have a ton, right? We concluded I have like way too much yarn. Definitely, I have way too much yarn. Which, yeah, I'm sure I want to join and see this website. Give me one moment. Ta-ta, will pop over. This is the mug rug with a cotton yarn. So basically, it's more like pot holder-ish thing without being a pot holder, but you place mugs on it on the table to kind of protect your table, if I understand correctly. That's how I wanted to use my pot holders that kind of failed last summer because yeah, the size didn't work up with the other size I was supposed to have. So it's gonna be like a mug rug or a vase mug or rug or whatever you want to say to kind of protect my table. So that's kind of the thoughts I have for that. That was last summer. I made that. It definitely did not fit. Let's see. Popping back here. Let's see. Keep track. But yeah, my Ravelry is like, how much did I have on it? Because it's not changed a lot since I did the last recording. Actually, it's not changed since I did the last recording, if I'm not wrong. Or if it has, it's just one skein. That means that I currently have like 200 skeins stocked in my Ravelry, which is like 27.1 kilograms or 956 ounces or 101,000 meters or 111,000 yards, which is crazy, right? So I am definitely still on the process of using my yarn. We will have a half skein done soon, and this yarn is actually stocked on my Ravelry because I stocked that in December when I did this advent calendar, right? So that is already stocked. Lisa says it's hard to say because I had a bunch in Ravelry, but then I abandoned it for a while and then I didn't use project pages. I'm not sure if I'll do project pages, but what I do know that I am doing is I'm just like when I'm using it, I'm just removing it from the stash. So I just like keep the stash overview at least. And I have so much yarn that I really, it's better for me to do it, if that makes sense. And especially if you have more of the same yarn, you can see that as a nice overview, which I really, really like too. So I guess you can say there is some benefits. I'll have to look into the project pages part. So yeah, Lisa has to go through and see what she had in Ravelry and then what Jan used and didn't update. Good luck. It's bigger than a coaster, so it's nice for an oversized coffee mug. Or tea mug, or whatever. Susan says, Rev, your yarn gets used so quickly, so your purchase is acceptable. And Rev confirms that he's still down one skein on used versus purchased for the year. I am still not caught completely up on the used compared to purchased because I got those free skeins from Hobby for the points, right? One can argue then if it's free because subconsciously eventually you have been paying stuff to get those points, except for the bingo prizes. But yeah, I still have some stuff to do there. That is for sure. Oh, it's not counting up here. No, it's not summarizing. That is not good. Then, of course, it takes a long time for me to get that done. Ooh, that makes good sense. That's better. Awesome, that looks better. That means that right now I am actually almost, so if we look at weights, I have used more than I bought. If you look at amount of skeins, I'm a slight bit up. I'm not sure if I will reach to get that done in March or it's gonna be close. And that's just simply because it's only a week left, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a week left of this month. It's crazy. Well, it depends on how much time I have this weekend to craft, I guess. Sunday I'm gonna be a very busy girl. Anyhow, we came from my travels to Denmark. So due to wanting to keep a frequent flyer status and stuff, I do take an extra leg when flying, which means that I fly Düsseldorf, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, which sounds really crazy. So basically I'm flying like, I could fly like this directly. Instead I fly like this. And that ensures me that I need less travel days to still make and keep my frequent flyer status, if that makes sense. And I definitely want to keep that, and I will explain you why. It gives me a free suitcase check-in, and when I'm gone for a week, I'm not gonna live on hand luggage. It's just not an option. Well, I could wash my clothes at my parents', but yeah, it's just not ideal. So, which of course I can still do, but what I mean is it's just not ideal to be dependent on that, and it's yeah. So I get a free checked-in luggage with my frequent flyer status. Then also I sometimes get other benefits. It earns me some quicker air miles as well. That's not a bad thing, because I can use that for tickets at some stage. And more importantly, that happened on the trip back. But so I went to Düsseldorf Wednesday morning on the 11th, and I checked in, and it was a short transfer in Amsterdam. I have to say, it was a short transfer. And I'll catch up on chat in just a minute. The transfer were normally supposed to be 45 minutes, which is it's on the shorter end in Amsterdam, but it should be possible because I'm flying within Schengen, which is like this agreement they have in Europe about the open borders, as well as it's the same airline company. I didn't need to check out and pick up my stuff and check back in and stuff like that. So that should be fine. But we are sitting there in Düsseldorf, and then we are told that our flight is 20 minutes delayed. They had a later departure from Amsterdam because they had something with the water system doing funny, and they had to spend time getting that fixed. And it's fixed, and everything was fine. But that turned out that the flight from Amsterdam that we had to get back to Amsterdam was delayed. So I was a bit concerned about my short transfer, of course, in Amsterdam. So I went to the desk, the check-in desk, and said, "Hey, I have a short transfer in Amsterdam. I'm a bit concerned." And they were like, "Yeah, well, we're not concerned because in worst case, and you don't make your flight, there's plenty of flights to Copenhagen. We can just rebook you if that's going to be needed, but I don't want to rebook you yet." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I hope I'll catch the flight, right? Like, I'd rather be earlier in Denmark than 2 or 3 hours later than originally planned. That wasn't like according to my scheduling." Then in Denmark, well, in Denmark, in Amsterdam, we landed and we were still a bit late. And I have this app from the flight company, and the flight company is like being like, we were still, it's such a small plane flying between Düsseldorf and Amsterdam. So I was still in the flight waiting on a bus to transfer us to the gate. And my app was just basically popping up saying, "Your flight to Copenhagen is now boarding." And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to run to make this flight. So when I finally, and we were waiting like 10 minutes for the bus to arrive. It was like also delayed. So when I finally was in the transfer gate, I ran the life out of my lungs to get to my flight to Copenhagen. I made it the flight, awesome. But when I arrived in Copenhagen, my suitcase was still in Amsterdam. So yeah, my luggage got delayed. That sucked massively. It got delivered at my parents' place the following day around 1 p.m. So so that was I definitely had my exercise that Wednesday, I can tell you that. Lisa says here, currently according to Ravelry, I have 147 ball skeins hanks, but that is way wrong, I'd imagine. And Revenant is showing us a blanket that he was making for his wife last time we were together. And she loves it. Let me share. Here we are. That is gorgeous. Definitely colorful, and it looks warm. Definitely looks nice and warm. Then, of course, I had some great days in Denmark after that. Lisa says that's why I never travel without air tags in our suitcases. We had too many suitcases left behind by the airlines. Well, Lisa, I was like, I knew that the transfer was short, and normally they tend to be okay with it. But I knew when I had to run for that flight that the likelihood that my luggage would join the other flight was slim. But I just hoped, if that makes any sense. So I had this small hope that it was still gonna be all right. But unfortunately, it didn't make it. And I do have AirTags, but guess what? Steenie was thinking before she left for the airport, I should change the battery on those because I know they are getting low on battery. And I totally forgot it. I didn't even bring batteries with me to the airport, so I could have changed it there. So my AirTag was still telling me that I was a totally different location because it was like kind of running out of power. But I just knew it was still in Amsterdam. Like my instinct told me it was in Amsterdam, which they also verified to me, and it came the following day. So that's at least something. And I instantly at my parents' place when I received my suitcase changed the AirTag, so it is now, or changed the AirTag, changed the battery in the AirTag, so it's now good. We had some great days in Denmark. I met some friends from the club where I used to be when I was younger. So I went over and said hello to them a couple of times. We had family day on the Saturday, celebrating birthday of the last couple of years, I'd like to say. Well, at least the last year because mom's been sick. Then Sunday I went to get tea with a friend. Monday was a working day. And we're just back to knitting. I just did a purl row. Now I'm just knitting. And we are slowly using up that yarn. I just hope to have it used before, because I just feel if I run out while watching telly tonight, I'm not going to add the new yarn. So I just want to make sure that this one gets used. And then I can add the new skein of yarn later. And then I have it for telly time. And then I can keep work on using that yarn. Plus we can work on finishing up this cowl. Yeah, so Tuesday we went to, like, I also worked, of course, on the regular days I was there. Tuesday, the following week, we went to have my mom's CT scan done. We did some groceries on the back home. And then Wednesday, it was time to get back. My mom were feeling so great that actually my parents ended up driving me all the way to the airport. That was awesome. Well, I drove to the airport, but my dad drove the car home. But my mom and my dad were both going with me to the airport to deliver me, so to say, or to send me off. And then on the way home, it went smooth in Copenhagen airport. I even found a few perfumes I want to add to my wish list for Christmas. And then and the flight to Amsterdam went smooth. In Amsterdam, I had about a 2-hour transfer. So I went and got myself a Starbucks, and I do their creams. I think they're really nice, especially in the summer. It was a little bit chill, I have to say, to get a cream at this time of the year. But I could sit there and work. So I worked for an hour. And then when we got closer to me having to board my second flight, like I had a 19 minutes to boarding time, I left the Starbucks and started walking towards the gates. I came to the gate. I wanted to check my app to make sure what seat I had. Like, I didn't remember if it was like 8F or 10F. And I opened the app and it just popped up and told to me like Sky Priority, 1F Business. And I'm like, what? So I got a free upgrade to business class on my last leg home. That was pretty cool. I have to say, that was really, really nice. So I was flying home on business. And that is another really good reason for wanting to keep my frequent flyer status, because sometimes when a flight is overbooked and it's everybody's flying economy, nobody wants to pay for the business, then if you bought your economy ticket and you have a frequent flyer status, you will get upgraded to business. They will take those with the highest priority status, like the highest frequent flyer status first on upgrade. but apparently there weren't that many. So I was very, very happy that I got a business flight on the last leg home for free. So upgrades are really great, and that is why I want to indeed do this crazy stuff, which is just a couple of times a year, right? But it is keeping me upgraded to, and I mainly do it for the free suitcase, because a free suitcase for me, the difference is 70 euros per ticket. So I definitely much rather have, I just invest a little bit more time in flying, and do the extra leg a couple of times, and then, it's fine. So I do need to plan another travel to Denmark, or two, either one or two, either two direct travels, or one with a stopover travel, as a bare minimum, and then I will be insured to keep my frequent flyer status. Oh, Lisa says here, I have a live update. Hubby and I decided to sell the property we bought last year and look for a different piece of property, larger and bushland. Whoa, nice. You're gonna build even bigger then. I knew you were going to build and develop the old house on the land. So sure, but it has to be the right feeling in any case, right? Like, you need to see yourself living there, else it still has no purpose. And yes, these upgrades are really great. The last for now, my favorite non-blanket I have ever made. I use this thing every day since I made it. Oh my goodness, let's pop in and say what this is. Round wrap made in the red hot, roll with it, melange yarn in the colorway Autograph, patterned by Fiber Spider. Oh, so it's like kinda, it folds over you. That seems nice. Yeah. A little bit dark, but definitely nice. The fact that it's a little bit dark. Well, that seems nice and warm. A bit cozy, yeah. I need coziness in life. Need more coziness in life. Please. I realize how dark I seem on this screen face photo. I'm sorry about that. Not sure. I think that could be the filter I'm using compared to not having this going totally crazy. Lisa says not the bigger, it's the same size. Just hubby really wants bushland for hunting, and this way I can get some animals. Great plan. Get some chickens. Free eggs. And they are range. Good morning, Megan. Hello. I am back to keep you with company while you're working. I hope you have survived the past 2 weeks without me. I am genuinely, truly sorry. That said, I do have enjoyed my time. Rev says growing with the plan is very quick, but equivalent to the tea time from Hobby. I have a single tea time cake from Hobby, not yet stashed in my Ravelry. We'll go through that one too. And I think I was also thinking of some sort of neck warmer cowlish or something like that for it. But who knows? Maybe I'll end up knitting a beanie. I'll see. Oh, Megan says, yay, it's been so quiet without you. I'm sorry. As I said, I have been busy. So right now I am knitting on the cowl, which I kind of frogged, and ooh, we are back at knitting it. And I'm just knitting until this yarn is up, because then I need to add a new skein. and I'll do that later. But I wanted to make sure that I had it finished and ready to go to add the new skein before tonight, because tonight I will spend some time with my partner behind the telly, and that would be awesome to have at least maybe a project I can take and knit on. You know, yarn consumption project is very much still present, and right now it is very much telling me that I haven't used that much yarn yet in March. And that's true. Oh no! Lisa says I can't have chickens. I'm allergic to their dander. Oh, that's sad. Chickens are such a wonderful beast. Very, very easy to keep. They will eat your kitchen scraps and you'll get eggs in return. Like, what's not to like? Except, of course, if you can't have their dander, then you're not in a good place. Well, that's a shame. Like, I swear to you, if I had the room, I would definitely have free roaming chickens eating my kitchen scraps. And I'd eat their eggs. That would be my little dream. Little household. So, yeah, because it's 3 and that's 3. Okay, that was row 1. We need another 6 rows before we are back to the purl row. And thing is, this yarn won't last that many rows. So that is perfect. That is perfect. Right now, the goal here is just to get it knit up and then say, I've used half a skein. Woohoo! I also wouldn't be able to have free roaming chickens in that area. There are coyotes and foxes. Another sad thing. I guess, so we do have foxes. No coyotes. Wolves, probably. But they're likely not going to come so close to people, places, so to say. Not intentionally. Or even if you would have them in a fenced coop. Lisa just finished stitching her shawl. I assumed weaving in ends then. Meanwhile, Hella is in the house and she says that's indeed good afternoon and that my uncle and auntie just left, so I assume they were on visit. And my best guess is that my mom finished the sweater she promised my auntie to help knit for her granddaughter. So I guess they were there for something to drink and picking up a finished project, because she had finished, I think, almost one sleeve when I left last week, Wednesday. And given it's children's sweater, it's going reasonably quick to finish sleeves. It's much quicker than at least a full person grown one. I, by the way, just found a top where I'm like, oh yes, I need this in my life, but I'm also being like, okay, I'm not going to be able to knit this anytime soon. And I definitely do not want to attempt anytime soon either. Then there are other things I want to attempt first. Oh. Green weeks. Do they have anything nice? Ah, la 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 la. It's made in rainbow bamboo and it's from Hobby. Let me just pop over here. Look, this one. A summer top in rainbow bamboo, which is like a cotton bamboo yarn. I think this is gorgeous, but I have no idea how to knit this. I'm like, that's probably not going to be something I'm going to knit anytime soon. So maybe I just need to download the pattern and then hope I will be good enough at knitting it in whatever time comes. Or I wish the yarn for Christmas. I leave it behind and have my mom knit it if she wants to. But that's like next year then. But I like it. I really like how this one looks. It popped up in my Facebook feed and I just remembered it. And they make it with rainbow bamboo, which is apparently on sale right now. So that's perfect, actually. Ooh. Which is 60% bamboo, or viscose from bamboo, and 40% cotton. It is 100 grams to 250 meters of yarn. But I would not necessarily want it in the dark one. I think it's in jade. Arches coke. It's a nice color too. Or is it more in this green tea color? No. But yeah, I'd be keen on that. Like, then I'm more for the artist coke or dusty pine. Light blue? Nah. Then dusty pine, I think. We also have the teals or soft blue. This is a nice color too. But yeah, I'd be keen on that. I'm just not sure how to approach it. And that is not going to be something I'm going to worry about today, because obviously that is not my concern. I know right now I definitely can't knit it. And I want to make sure if I go that direction that, you know, I need, my knitting skills needs to improve. And ideally, you know, I drop those many pounds that I gained, and I'll be fine. You know, that's still a dream, and I would be so sad if I knit something and it's way too big, because I would need to knit it again. On the other hand, then maybe the second version would be nicer to do. Rev says, going to need to dip for a bit, dropping off my dog at the vet for a biennial checkup. We'll be back in 30 to 45 minutes ish. Everyone be good while I'm gone. We are always good, Rev. And meanwhile, Heather says, not completely done with the sweater. Still needs to finish sleeve number 2 and do miss the border on the front and the neck. Lisa says, I got 4 hanks of fingering weight, hand-dyed silks in Barcelona that I'm wanting to knit for myself a top with. Oh, sweet. Do you found a pattern yet, Lisa? Like, I have tops on my list that I want to do and stuff like that. It's just, oh, it's a bit scary to jump into, I guess. Just yet. Or maybe I indeed just need to do it, and then that's how it is. That could also be. But I need a second because I lost weight. I like the excuse for getting a new garter rope, if that's the reasoning. But it is eternally more difficult when you pass 40. When you pass 30, it felt much easier 10 years ago. Lisa says something like this pattern that she's linking to. I am just gonna pop over. Maybe not like that exactly pattern, but something along these lines. So like with a waterfall top. This is a nice one though. This is more like a dress, I think. I feel. Though it's a sleeveless top, but She seems to be sitting in a dress. Oh, here's a top. It's not bad though. I think it's nice. It has a nice drape to it. It definitely has a nice drape to it. Something like that, maybe not exactly the pattern. And then my chat needs to load here. Waterfall top and tunic length. Right. This. Anyhow, I was cracking along the lines here of this so I could be ready for alligators today. I also think I want to finish this cowl before I start any next knitting project, which is likely going to be beanies because we have all of these scrap yarns from ice that I want to use up still. So that's probably what's going to happen next. And I still need to grab that skein and make this pom-pom, or attempt making a pom-pom from that last bit. I need to find that. I think with it being silk, the pattern doesn't need to be dramatic. The yarn is dramatic already. I think that might be true. Plus, it's more likely also to drape nicely. So you just need a pattern that also, in any case, would give a nice drape. It's my feeling. That was the second knit row. I need 7 in total. But as I said, if you look how much yarn I have left, it's not going to get 7 rows out of this. That's an overkill statement. And very, very naive to believe that's going to happen. So I'm just going to crack out what is left here. Yeah, so Thursday I was working. Friday I went to Dortmund, where we were until Sunday, and I worked for my own business, so to say, there, and met some people, which was really nice to see, hanging out, stuff like that. Today I've been working, and now we are here. So that's basically what's been going on the past 2 weeks. I've just been busy traveling around, and I slept in my bed like 3 nights of those 14. And I'm so happy to be home. Well, I clocked out last night and I was like sleeping as a stone. I don't even know if I snored, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did. I was so tired. I was so tired. Yeah. Time flies. But yeah, had a good time. Spoke to a bunch of people, got ideas. Enjoyed myself, had great food. Also a very important thing in life sometimes. Yeah, what else? Not much. I didn't buy any yarn. I did go in a store at some stage where I was thinking, oh, they have some yarns. But I didn't get any. And I didn't have time to record either, which I was a bit sad about. Had I more time on my hands, I would definitely have made a little recording. What I did do is I did post a short as well while I was away, with Fleur, and that actually performed pretty well. So, what's for dinner tonight? Is Lisa asking. We are going tonight. So I haven't really had time to do much groceries since I've been away. So it's easy and it's from the fridge. No, not from the fridge, from the freezer. The what did I want to call it? It is, so I'm gonna boil rice and then I am we're going to have something called satay, which is like a peanut butter sauce and some chicken meat with it. And it's basically just something that's made by a frozen food company here in the Netherlands. Bit like Conagra Foods, I guess. They also make frozen foods. And like you make the staple yourself, which in this case is rice, and then you'll heat it up in the microwave. And the reason is simple. I need to do groceries tonight. I wouldn't have anything ready able to like this is the simple way of fixing that. And now I can really get some groceries, like I can get eggs back in the house and all of the stuff that I'm missing. So that is what's going to happen after dinner, is that I'm going to do groceries because I have the cow then. Tuesday evening, I will be spending some hours at the club for the first time, shooting again since 2 weeks. Wednesday, we have our general assembly for the club. So the board meeting, so to say, for the year, electing new people and all that shizzle. Thursday, I'm off. Friday, also Friday evening, training time. Saturday, I'm going to sleep out. Sunday morning, I will drive to the northern part of the Netherlands to make some ear pluggies. We are really getting closer, but we are not there just yet. It is 3 p.m. here because we haven't changed to summertime yet. So the time difference between US and EU is off. Normally, for me, I would say it would be 3 a.m. in the US, but I think it's not a.m. 9 a.m. in the US, but I think it's 10 a.m. Eastern right now. And that is due, my friends, due to that Europe, we first change our time next weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, we are heading into summertime, putting the clock 1 hour forward. And then we are back at our normal schedule. So this week, my friends, you will see me first going live like an hour later than I normally go live. But I should be live Wednesday and Friday unless something changes. And I am definitely looking forward to spend time with you guys. And I feel that this week we would definitely get the WaffleChic Shrug finished because it's not that much to go and we do have some lives to go. And we could work on it after we finished up this skein. So that is what's happening. It's just that I'm gonna be a bit later than what you're used to, and that is simply due to, well, time zones. No, I wish the world could agree, if they really have to do these daylight savings, that couldn't we all do it at the same time across the globe and not just each country decides themselves when they do it? It's such confusing. Yeah, it's 9 a.m. Central, which means normally Central is 7 hours behind me, so it should be 4 p.m. here, but it's not. It's 3 p.m. So we are an hour closer for the next few weeks. Or not few weeks. It's been a few weeks. It's been 2 weeks already. On Sunday, our schedule is back to normal. That, my friends, I'm looking quite forward to. The Canadian government will be voting if you're going to get rid of the daylight savings, and Lisa is hoping that they will get rid of it. I'm kind of like, I don't mind if we have them or don't have them, but what I want in any case is just that it's the same across the globe. It's so fucking much easier. Sorry for my French. I mean, it's so confusing if it's not the same. It's so much easier if everybody like follows the same standards. And time should change on the same day if they really want to change it, or it just shouldn't change. The Manitoba government. Okay. Ah, I thought it was Canadian in general, but it's your state government then. Yeah, see, that's why the world is confusing. So I know even in Australia they can't agree. But it's the same in the US, right? There are states in the US that doesn't do it and states that do. And I believe even in Australia, some of their states, even if they may all change, some doesn't change at all and others change, but they don't change on the same weekend. And I'm like, my goodness, that's just ridiculous. Like, why can't we just globally be all in agreement on this? Would be so much better. For all of us. Right? Okay, so we are working on the third row, and I need to make sure I don't lose my stitches here. As I said, I am just gonna finish until I have no more yarn left on this skein. Then we will go back to crocheting. Oh, who knows, maybe I'll end up being able to get all the way around and I'll be shocked. That's actually not even impossible, but who knows. We are almost done with round 3 of the knit rows. There's 4 rounds to go before the next purl row. It's important to say that in the end, while this technically is the simple yet effective cowl, then I ended up kinda making a few changes to the pattern, so it's more based off the simple yet effective cowl. I think that would be technically more correct to say. Oh. Of course, look, it's not much left. It is really not much left. But then, knitting doesn't take as much yarn as crochet, so who knows? Maybe I can get further than I think I can. That wouldn't be surprising me either. Do, do, do. Starting on the 4th knit row. So the real question is, when I'm use this half skein, I should technically call it half a skein, but at the same time, I feel it's one in the sense of it is a full skein gone, even though it's just half the length. So I might just call it one skein, and then half the yardage, if that makes sense, and wait. For the consumption part. Lisa says, I switched to knitting and you're going to be switching to crocheting. That is true. I will need to find my crochet hook also when we get there. That's the next challenge. But first, I am gonna finish up this yarn. That is something I can definitely do while we are on this live. I have to say, I am getting much further with this game than I really thought I would. I thought I was much closer to finishing it. Apparently I wasn't. I watched the new movie Friday as well when I was knitting on the hotel from the Peaky Blinders. So I finished binging the whole series and then I watched the movie because it launched also on Friday, so that was kind of perfect. I had finished watching the series. Did I finish it before I go to Denmark? I think I did. And then I watched the movie only at the hotel while I was knitting. And I had the feeling I was almost like finished, but apparently there was much more yarn left in this skein than I thought there was. It's all right. Megan says she watched it too, so you also watched the Peaky Blinders movie. What did you think about it? I thought it was actually pretty okay. To some extent a bit shocking, and to some extent not completely. Maybe indeed that finally did give him peace. Lisa says, after I get that shawl on blocking, I'll put on my long gin shawl and get it done next. A good plan. I definitely need to work on those shawls too. That said, I do just genuinely feel like I want to get the shrug finished because it's not that far to go. So I think I'll finish up that one first before I'll start looking at those shawls again. Lisa says I need to watch it. No spoilers. I hope I didn't give too many spoilers then with what I said. It's a good one. I think it's a good story. I think the ending somehow made sense, even though it's a bit definitive. So, but I think it was a good watch, and it nicely summarized the years between the end of the series and the time period of the movie. Yeah. So, and the plot of the movie, like, is actually based on something that happened in real life, except it wasn't exactly related to the Peaky Blinders. They just adapted it to fit into the story script. So I think it was actually quite nicely made and quite nicely written. So Lisa, don't spend too long until, or Megan, don't, yeah, sorry, Lisa, don't spend too long until you get it watched, because it could be awesome to chat about. No more spoilers than that. It's good. Time to look for my next watch items. I do have a few things I'd like to watch. I definitely need a new series to binge when I'm crafting. And I have a few lined up for potentials. Lisa says she started rewatching Bones again. I binged Bones less than a year ago, and I'm not gonna rewatch that one anytime soon. No, just no. I do have a few plans. I do have a few movies also lined out, I think. Let me see, what did I have in my bookmarks? There's a few seasons also of various that might be potential on Prime, so that's good. Also, I do need to take time, but I definitely need a project where I can watch and not need to look at it. I want to watch documentary, which is a 2-episode documentary on the Danish television, so I can stream it here with my mom's login credentials. And that actually won an Oscar for best documentary, which is Mr. Nobody against Putin. So I kind of want to watch that because it says something about how they changed teaching in school. Let's see, we have 4. We're starting on the 5th knit row. I'd like to watch that actually, but it's in Russian with Danish subtitles because it's viewed from the eye of a teacher who then escaped, and afterwards they kind of put things together. That how the whole school system kind of changed after they ended the war with Ukraine and stuff like that. And I think that could be an interesting watch. But I'm not sure that's a documentary that's really good to combine with crafting. At least not crafting where we'll need to look at what I'm doing. Because I will need to read subtitles because my Russian is non-existent. I think I can speak 3 or 4 words of Russian at best, and that's it. Don't forget to hydrate. I've also been debating on getting a quick 1-month subscription to HBO again, to watch a series I was watching, and I know they're coming with a new season. They also have another series I'd like to watch, so there's a few series I'd like there. But as I said, if I do that, that's just going to be a month subscription. That's it. Because I don't want to have a permanent subscription when we still have like Netflix and Prime and stuff like that. I wanted to have done it during February for the Olympics, but a lot of it was also being streamed on the Dutch television, and I guess I just wasn't sure if I would have the time for it because many things were happening also in February. And here I thought this was just going to be an hour, but I feel it's going to be 2, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to be less because it's starting to look like this, but it's definitely taking me longer than I had anticipated to get through what's left on that skein. So yeah, there's a bunch of things. And oh my goodness, another thing that also just came with the new season on Netflix is the Lincoln Lawyer. I definitely also binge watched that one when it's been out. So that is another thing I need to watch. Maybe I should start there. That's not a bad idea. Gonna add that one to my list of things before I forget. Done. On my list. Good morning, Gloria. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just finishing knitting up this bit, so I finish the skein before I grab my crochet projects. Lisa says finishing that shawl puts me at 6 balls slash hacks of my travel yarn used up. How many balls did you have made with you home from your travels this winter? How many yarns did you end up bringing with you home, like skeins, hanks, yarns? Just to have something to compare with, right? "41 skeins, balls did you bring with you home?" That is a fair bit. So the conclusion is you have a 35 left that you still need to have a look at. So I think we came to the conclusion this was 5. Or is it 6 already? I don't know. Regardless if it's 5 or 6, I minimum need 1 more row. So I am gonna throw on 1 more row. Yeah, that was good. Then we are gonna count before starting on the following, just to check. But a lot are for Christmas gifts. Well, better get started now. Hmm. Ooh. Yeah, tea is nice. It is my Russian Earl Grey tea, for those that's curious, which is basically an Earl Grey, and instead of the bergamot, it's lime lemons, Spanish lemons. I bought 41 of them, yes. Already started, almost half done with my first Musselburgh hat. 5 for that Longjing wedding shawl, which will hopefully be done this week. Oh, ooh, nice. Susan is asking Rev if he told us what pattern he would work up with the bit of stripes in. I don't think he did, but right now, Susan, I'm not sure if Rev is back. He was just having to drop his dog off at the vet for half-year checkups and stuff. So it could be he's not yet back, because I haven't seen him say he was back. But I don't think he told us. He just said he had plans. Look. No worries, no worries. It's just if we're wondering why the reply is late, it's he's told, I don't know when it was, because I don't have a timestamp on this last chat, but he did say a while ago that he had to go for 30 to 45 minutes to drop the dog off at the vet. Which is slowly about that time that he should get back, but I haven't seen him check back in, so. Do, do, do. Da, 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 dum, dum. But yeah, I definitely need to challenge my knitting skills. I am going to check. I do have some leftover yarns for project, which is technically a WIP, but it's a WIP I've decided is gonna end its days, and it's a WIP we haven't talked about for almost 2 years. And I think I am going to see if there is enough yarn left from that I can repurpose for a shawl. I want to knit a shawl. Um, but I will have to check if I may have enough yarn for that before I just do it. It's a 2-stranded one, so who knows, maybe I'll end up being positively surprised. We're getting there. The real question is if I need more, if I need one more row, or if it's the last row before the purl. I need to count my stitches. Of course, it would be easier with a row counter, wouldn't it? Look, I think we can more or less say this one is finished. I just need to see if it's another row of net, or if we indeed need to start do the purls. Let's just, I would say, it's not much. I would say we are probably where we should supposed to be. 2, 4, 6, 7, 4. Yeah, 2, 4. I think we're at 7. Looks the same thickness, doesn't it? The same width. It does. Especially when I start purling. So it is a purl row. Look, so little left. So little yarn left. You're very much almost there. Then we start to have to purl, and then I also need to change yarn. But as I said, I'm going to change yarn later. Yeah, that's good. But this, my friends, is half skein done. Or technically it's a skein because it was a skein, but it was only a half a skein when I started working on it. Awesome. I should open my document. Document it instantly. Before I forget. Because the yarn that's left here is so little. So that is what we're gonna do. Documenting the yarn usage. Do-do. So we are purling right now. Well, that means that we did a fair few rows with that what was left, and I really thought it was just going to be a couple of rows at best, and yet I think we've done like almost 8 rows with it. 7 for sure, 7.5. I thought maybe we got 2-3 rows to go. It just shows me how often that knitting uses so much less yarn than crocheting that I just can't assess it well enough how much yarn I have, how far it stretches. Do you have that with knitting, that you are sometimes surprised how much less yarn you have used than what you thought you would? So after this, when we are just a few stitches further, we are going to look at the WaffleChic Shrug, where we definitely have a couple of more rows to go before needing to add the border. And here we're almost there. Lisa says I'm the same. I'm pretty good at estimating for crochet, but completely out of lunch for knitting. Yeah. Megan is asking how the hat collector shawl is going. It's going fine. I am at row 27 and I need to start take out for the fringes in row 28. I did not progress on it since last week's yarn talk video. Friday I did post a yarn talk video showing the progress on it. So I haven't done anything since because I haven't been home for it. I can do, let's see, 2 more stitches and I'm gonna call it quits for this one. So, ta-ta. That is how far we got, and it does still want to, but it's a lot less. So it's better. It's acting better than the old. So now we just have 1 full skein to add. And I will do that later as well, but I will definitely go ahead and handle my half skein because it's considered used. I would say in this case, it is probably more like I am gonna enter it as a full skein, but I will only take the length as if it was merino paint. So I'm taking the weight and length of what was left, but I will have to call it 1 for the math's sake. Awesome. Cool. The hat collectors, it's next to me, so I can't like quickly show it here. That is how it's looking. I have some ends I could weave in. Could and should. Haven't done it yet. But that is how we're looking. So we are progressing, except I haven't progressed much the last 2 weeks because I've not been home. But I do need to get some progress started on it. I just I guess feel like working rather on the WaffleChic Shrug because it's closer to being finished, right? Not 4.5. I need my 5. 5. It's a bit of a mess. This is the cake. I still work on with it. And here, my friends, we have it. Technically, it should be laid more like this because here's the sleeves. And I'm not adding anything here, so I just keep adding up row here and I work all the way around onto this. And then we work back. So it's like a back and forth project. You can see, if I turn it around, you can see where it's attached after we kind of ended it, but it's not that bad. It's right here. Generally, it's okay, but you can see there is a little bit differentiation there. But overall, it's good, I think. Let's see, because I have to look at this like we'll work this direction, so we are going to do a regular, then front posts. Okay. Thank you, Megan. It is looking great. Just has a bunch of work to do. So we are gonna stack singles, 2 of them, to get this row started. And then it's 2 front post regular, 2 front post regular, etc., all the way around. This is such a different yarn to work with than what I just had. It's thicker, so instantly it yeah, it feels like it goes quicker, which of course is true because it is thicker. It is though starting to take up a fair amount of place when you're working on it. But that's all right. We are getting closer to being finished as well. And this gave me the thought of looking for also a sweater in this kind of concept, and I found one. I did find one. So what are you, ladies and gentlemen, working on? Feel free to share. Could also be that you inspire me for another project in the future. As I said, I'd really look forward to also getting this one done because it is one of those projects I wanted to have done in 2026. So that goal would be closer to be completed. Lisa is still weaving in ends. Well, I should weave in ends I saw on that Heart Collectors, but not in the mood right now. I should weave them in no later than before I add the next cake, because else I'll end up having all those ends to weave in. at the very end, which I'm definitely not in the mood to do. Do-do. That's kind of disappointing size-wise. Oh yeah. Lisa needs more caffeine. Well, go grab a cup of coffee then, I would say. I am doing the tea caffeine, tea, I believe it's called actually. It's called tea, the caffeine in tea. So yeah, I have to say the challenge right now is there's a lot of things I'd really like to get my hands on for future projects. But I think I just need to focus on indeed shop my stash. Within the extent it's possible. Crazy to think about, it's also Easter soon. Easter is just around the corner, technically speaking. With our travels, I racked up enough points that I got an espresso machine with them. Oh, sweet. You mean your air miles or so? I just had to look at the agenda for a minute. Trying to plan out things. The credit card we have lets us use our points directly on Amazon. Ah, cool. That is actually quite nice. My credit card racks up air miles as well, so I'll just likely trade in for free flight tickets when we get there. I could get free tickets to Denmark, but that travel is such a short distance and at such a decent price that it's not interesting for me to do. So I'd want to use them for when we have to go abroad, like overseas, Asia or the US, which is not happening anytime soon. Especially with all what's happening in the Middle East. So I'll just keep racking up points. My points they are so far quite, what do you call it? They don't run out. They get extended for free monthly with my credit card. I'm more using it for the travel insurance and stuff like that. And as I said, I do need to start look at planning my next trip. And I need to book ferry tickets for the summer. So there's just a bunch of things. Definitely need to find better projects to bring with me along for when I'm traveling. What were I thinking? That's fine. Ah. Okay. But yeah, I think it's nice to be able to pick up things on Amazon instead for credit points. There was a stage where Amazon had an agreement with the frequent flyer system, so I could earn air miles on my purchases on Amazon. They removed that again. That sucks. It's much better when it was still there. Meanwhile, it is almost 4 p.m. here in the Netherlands, which means I will be hanging out for another hour. It's the plan, at least. Lisa says the card we have get us 1.9 points for every dollar we spend, but 1 point doesn't equal $1 when used. Yeah, that's usually how it is, right? It's equaling a lot less. But it's worth something, which is kind of like better than nothing. I get 1 full air mile for €1 that I spend with my card. And that also goes for when I purchase flight tickets with it. I actually even earn extra points when it's flight tickets that I paid. Because then I kind of sort of get subconsciously saying double miles. Oh, it also gets us lounge access in most airports. See, now that's worth it. Now I'm curious to hear what card you have. I could likely get lounge access too with my card if I wanted an expensive one. And then I'm like, I'm not sure if that's really like, I don't travel that much. I'm sure it's worth it. Then I'd rather have lounge access because I'm just a frequent flyer. Of course, you get that for free. It needs to kind of make sense. And the KLM's crown launches are pretty nice, so I definitely wouldn't mind that. Okay, it's an American Express Platinum Business. Well, I also have an American Express, but it's just a gold card and not a business. I don't need extra cards. And it's a personal one. I think I could probably couple it up to be a business optionally. The gold, yeah, I don't know if the personal one does. That's the thing. Let's see what it says. If it does, then I definitely have missed out last time I was flying. Mm-hmm. I am curious now, so I'm now checking. Of course, if I get an extra one right now, I'll get extra stuff from them, but I'm like, no, I don't need an extra card. All benefits. Experience points. Share and fly. No. Comfortable traveling. Added travel and cancellation insurance. Lots of insurances. Fly now, pay later. Worldwide experiences, maybe. No. Experiences app. Pre-sales and concerts. World-class service, maybe. Nope. Insured. Money back. No interest. No. No. I won't get that from the gold cards in Europe. And let's see what the platinum offers in Europe. Just for funsies. Of course, platinum card on its own would give me temporarily, instantly frequent flyer status, but not completely, because in the end I still need to fly extra, which is, for the fee I'd pay for it, it would be cheaper just flying back and forth. Experience, flying blue, blah, blah. Benefits. Platinum from Mars, yeah. Doesn't sound like it. Oh, I'd need to go and ask for them, but I think it's only the business cards that does the. It sounds like that's only. Oh yeah, if I get the platinum card, I'll get fast track. It's here in the Netherlands in the airports, and I'll get unlimited lounge access. And 3 times a year, I'll get a dinner for 2. Nice. That's not bad though. But I think there's also then something related to your monthly income or yearly income. And then I'm not sure if my income is actually high enough to even redeem it if I wanted to. Let's just. But it's not the Crown Lounge. And it's like, my goodness, how much is this a year even? By 12? Oh, 780 euros a year just to get that. I'm not sure if that's worth it. I don't travel enough for that. So, and if I would just have frequent flyer status to get that instead. So yeah, I would need the platinum card for that, not the gold. But they're dinner for 2 to the value of 300 euros per year. That's not bad though. But I would need to know what hotels. Okay, I'm gonna catch up and chat. Hello, Angela. Hello, Angela. I will have to remember that because we just see your YouTube handle, which is Phil. And also working on Tunisian bag. I still need to learn to Tunisian crochet. That is my another thing on my to-do list. Right now, I'm just busy learning to knit better. Except I finished the knit for this stream. We are back at crocheting, trying to get this shrug done. It is a WaffleChic Shrug, and it is in the waffle stitch. And I am working on that last bits. At least it could be because yours is a business card. You put all your business fuel on the cart between 30 to 50,000 a month during the working season, so it racks up points fast. I can imagine. Mine doesn't rack up points as fast because it's my personal one. That said, like, I buy my flight tickets with it. I paid for my hotel with it last weekend and stuff like that. So what I can buy with it, I do buy with it. But no, I don't spend that much on fuel. um, the turnover in that sense is not that big. I do though. I let my I pay my, like, if I have an order from my business, I do also use it if possible and stuff like that. So I do use it as much as possible, but I'm not even at those levels, not even remotely close. So yeah, and ours, as said, it's just not a business card, so nope. It's just a private one. Normal people that spend that much on fuel, no, they definitely do not. That's also sure. That's true. That is true. And I'd imagine you'd rack up points even faster right now with the recent fuel prices, thanks to what's happened the past few weeks, right? Because you guys realize as well that apparently somebody decided that Iran needed some teaching. Jesus. It's fucking messed the world right now. Excuse my French, but it really is a mess right now worldwide. But it makes great sense to put it all on the same card if possible. Especially we can make points, because you can get all sorts of stuff for those points, right? Mine is just connected to my frequent flyer account so that I rack up air miles. And I technically, if I find the cheapest tickets for miles, I have a free flight to the US, a free ticket to the US or to Asia. But one would need to search to find those right tickets to get that discount, of course. You should, yes. Lisa says we should have filled our bulk tanks before that went bungers. Exactly. The question is, how long is that gonna be bungers? I don't think it's gonna close down anytime soon. I think that is a pending thing. And that is going to be at least the next 6 months gonna be a freaking nightmare. The gasoline prices also rose to the roof. The Netherlands has the most expensive prices in Europe, actually, on gasoline, which is kind of crazy because Shell is a Dutch company, right? So they're like having the refinery in the Netherlands. How can it be so expensive? But yeah, bottom line is still that we can't do much about it. It's just how it is. Lisa says they plan on starting the season in a month or so. I would say as soon as the ground isn't frozen, I guess. Right? Like you can't get in the ground if it's frozen, so it needs to be somehow thawed. Yeah, it's starting to thaw this week. Oh, that's great. 2 weeks ago, it was such a good weather, and then, I was like, oh, it's getting spring. And that was during the last live, I think. And then I checked the weather before I went to Denmark, and I was like, hell no, I'll bring my winter coat. It was cold. I'm happy I brought my winter coat. I would have frozen my ass off if I brought my summer coat or technically it's like an in-between season coat, right? But still, I would have frozen if I had had that one with me instead. So technically, because I am actually sort of on Ravelry, I just need to fix my stash with my edit the stash, yes please. That's what I have left. Save changes. Cool. Because I used stuffs. Done. Just before I forgot it, because I was like, if I forget it, then it doesn't add up anymore, right? I had just used some skeins, and I left a skein in Denmark, which is technically gone from my stash, so I need to remove it from my stash, but I didn't use it, so I can't count it on my usage list. Lisa says, I think cold for you is different than for me. Probably. Yet, and I think I've gotten more also used to the Dutch weather than I have to the Danish over the years, because like I can definitely feel there is a temperature difference between Dutch and Danish weather. Generally, it's colder in Denmark. And I definitely more often feel that. Do, 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 do. Mm. Yeah. I realize I have a free Monday in April. King's Day. We don't need to work. It's a Monday. Last year it was a Sunday, so that was just too bad for you. But this year it falls on a Monday, which means we have a day off. Yay! Need to figure out what to do on that day, except maybe sleeping. If I went out right now, just being a hoodie, it's -1. Well, I wouldn't went out right now just in a hoodie. No, not that -1. I would have a jacket on top. But I am also quite cold person in the sense of I easily get it cold, so I need extra layers. Like, I'm like, technically it's 20 degrees in here right now, and I'm having a cardigan and a long sleeved shirt underneath. And if I don't have that, I'll freeze. And I'm even debating that I could take on my poncho and I wouldn't sweat. It's sad, isn't it? As I said, I am a very cold person. I need layers and layers and layers to like not freeze. I am though happy that I didn't bring my winter jacket this weekend because over day it was pretty warm outside, and I had to walk to a bank because I had forgotten to put X cash um, in my wallet, and Yeah. I don't need to say more, I think. So we had to go find an ATM. And after we got to the first ATM, that was like they had no functioning ATMs, so I had to go to the next. That was warm before we got back. Hey, Sarah! Great to see you, lady. Weather and then city or zip code. So, like, you could check ours. It's actually reasonable at the moment. It's kind of warm um, for VACO terms or Winkler terms, wherever you are. The weather for Winkler in Canada is currently mostly cloudy with a temperature of 30 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's about 1 degree Celsius. The wind is blowing at from south at 13 miles per hour, and the humidity is 75. In Nijmegen, which is not far from where I live, the conditions are mostly cloudy with a temperature of 61 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 16 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from west at 6 miles per hour, and the humidity is 43. Sometimes it needs to have a chance to kind of like load, Sarah. The weather for Elk River conditions are sunny with a temperature of 33 degrees Fahrenheit, about 1 degree Celsius. Wind is blowing from southwest at 1 mile per hour, and the current humidity is 65. In New Jersey, the conditions are foggy at a temperature of 43 degrees Fahrenheit, 6 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from north at 11 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 99. Yeah, usually it's pretty high when it's foggy. So yeah, well, it is also later in the day here. Obviously, it is 4:15. But we can conclude that it's pretty warm. But it is also getting to the place where it's like it should be spring and it should be nice to be outside in the sun. I really should spend more time outside, actually. And as Lisa says, if you haven't done yet, do not forget to hit the thummies. The thummies are very helpful to me because that enables us to get more new friends in with us at the stream, like we had Angela, who popped in and said hello. Susan has crocuses blooming in her garden. I can tell you what, Susan, my tulips are having their flower buds. We are just waiting for them to bloom. And that, my friends, is really nice. I don't know if I could go see if I could grab a photo of it. But yeah, that is a nice feeling. My tulips and narcissus are getting out of the ground. Definitely gets me in the mood. We also want to add some different flowers to our garden. We want to be more friendly to bees and butterflies. And oh my goodness, my plum tree is starting to bloom. It's springtime. Sorry, I just get so happy with this. I do really get happy with the summers coming. It makes life so much better. Genuinely, so much better. I've waited all winter on this. Indeed, Susan. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Sarah says, nothing is even close to blooming here. I'm just seeing the start of a few things turning green. It's also a bit cold. I think it's because you're so far inland. The Netherlands is not that far off the coast. Obviously, we have coastal lines. I am, though, from Dutch perspective, very much inland because I do have like an hour, hour and a half to the coast. But that makes our temperature way much more climate. It's more temperate. In winter, it only gets really, really cold here if the wind is either straight north or from east, like east, and then it's already winter, then it gets really cold here. As long as the wind is south or even west, it's not bad. Lisa says I still have a feet of snow. Wow. And Sarah also says it's cold here, we still have snow some places around. Susan says her forsythia is about to bloom. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, my plum tree is blooming. I'll tell you a fun story about my plum tree. So when I moved here many years ago, I was so happy we had a plum tree. I was like, I like plums. And I'm like, oh, they never ripen. They just start falling off the tree before they even ripe because they're just green. They keep staying green. What's up with my plums? They're just green, 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 green. And then one of our friends happens to be a tree specialist. And I asked him, said, what's wrong with my tree? You know, it's not, my plums remain green and they don't ripe. And then he's like, it's because your plum is a green Renner Claude. They remain green. And I was like, ah. So I will just pop over to the screen to show you guys what I mean. This, my friends, is a green Renner Claude. That's ripe. So of course my plum tree is not turning the classic purple or red because they remain green. And here's the flowers, and I can see that my flowers are slowly green. This is in Dutch though, but my flowers are slowly getting green. So yeah, they exist. They're actually pretty okay. They are good for jam. They are good for if you make lemonade from them. So that's mainly what they're used for. I think I can imagine, and it's reasonably small plum for a plum. They're not like the big Victoria plums, but this is actually a quite nice plum. So that's what I have in my tree. So no wonder that my plums never turned a different color. Indeed, Susan, plum jam. And do you know if you make plum jam, if you add a teaspoon of cinnamon to the jam, it goes really, really nice. So if you make plum jam, try to add a spoon of cinnamon into your jam. You will be positively surprised. Lisa says, I have a Queen of Hearts plum tree. I'm hoping that will be the first year I'll get fruit. I will cross my fingers. You will have to tell us when we get closer if it starts to bloom. That will be the first indication that you might get plums, right? Sarah says, I've also heard of plum butter. Never tried that one. But I may need to consider if I'm indeed home when these are ripe that I will need to make stuff with it again. That's a gorgeous color. I just had to go look for those plums, by the way. Here we are. Queen of Hearts plum. That looks nice. I don't have that big of a garden I can plant extra trees, though. And the plum tree was here when I moved in. Hey Rev! Welcome back to the world of live streaming. But that looks nice too. Ended up being just a bit longer than anticipated. The wife wanted to make a stop. Well, a lot of people keep saying happy life, happy wife. Or happy wife, happy life. That's how it goes. So definitely keep her happy. It had blooms on it last year, but never got fruit. Oh, maybe this year then. Maybe this year. I have an apple tree that I got myself from the I planted the seed and it's been growing ever since 2021. So it's 4 years old actually. Wow. It's not that big. But I hope it's gonna put off at least getting closer to fruiting. I know they are going to be minimum 5 to 6 years before they start fruiting even. It's an apple tree that was taken from a seed of a pink lady apple. It may not work at all, and it may also be a different fruit than the pink lady, because with apple trees, they do take the branches from the trees to add on other stems and stuff like that. As it depends on what would have pollinated this apple. It's a store-bought apple, and I remember I was slicing it up in quarters, and I saw it had a seed that was actually sprouting, and I decided to put it in the ground, and it's turned into an apple tree, which is right now in my garden. And I told my partner this is a test, and if we end up get apples and they taste like I don't know what, which is not nice, then we'll just cut down the tree. If they're nice, then it's a fun test and I like it. If not, then it's just too bad. But yeah. Angela says, I have 2 peach trees. They have peaches on them. Oh, nice. Angela, where are you in this lovely world? Where are you located approximately? I'm in the Netherlands. Lisa's in Canada. The other ladies and gentlemen are across scattered the states, where technically Rev is probably at the hottest location. He's in Texas. And Helle, if she's here, she's in Denmark. Columbus, Georgia. You're not going to tell me that. I'm going to tell you something funny. I've been to Columbus, Georgia twice in my life. We flew into not Los Angeles. We flew into Atlanta and drove down about 2 hours drive or so. And I stayed both times at the DoubleTree, Hilton's DoubleTree Hotel there. I were there in 2010 and in 2011. The primary purpose for the visit was to compete at a World Cup that was held at the Fort Benning area. So that's fun facts. So I've actually been to Columbus, and I've had great food there too. It's a lovely area. We had a nice walk in the Columbus city, like past the river, so we could like spot on the other side where you have Alabama and stuff like that. Lisa instantly says, Georgia peaches! So that sounds like something they're very familiar too. My goodness, Rev, it's been 35 degrees the last 2 days. And I'll have to say, Georgia can be hot too. Because the first year I was there, it was warm. That was like, both of them were in May, 30 degrees plus. Which is like what? In the 90s. Maybe even warmer. But I remember them generally as really good travels. Good experiences. we had the opening ceremony of one of the event at the it's like a military museum inside Fort Benning. What is it called? I need to check maps and Google to help me recall that maybe. Of course, you can help me with that. Columbus in Georgia. Yep. Definitely been there. But you can barely see stuff in there because of the armory. The one time we were there, that wasn't. I think that wasn't in. It was in May 2011. The generator had to turn in because the power went off, and the generator only ran for the hospital in Fort Benning. But what is it named? They have like a museum there inside where we went. It was pretty okay. Rev says I have a few more smaller finished objects from the last couple of weeks, starting with these. Popping on the link. Oh, every time I need to open these links in the chats, YouTube is like, "Are you sure you want to leave YouTube?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I trust that there is nothing wrong." That's coasters. That is coasters. I can see that. Coasters. Ta-da. I'm actually gonna think if I can find. Maybe I can find. Just trying to see if I can, if I have a folder somewhere. I have a folder of 2010. That's old. Not the best photos, but let's do like this. Ta-ta! That was our hotel back then, the Doubletree Hotel. And we had a swimming pool, which was really nice, especially in those like 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit. And here's the range. That's at Fort Benning. And a parking lot at Fort Benning. Of course, I had to grab the Danish flag. And again, more shooting range here at Fort Benning. That's the indoor range at the 10-meter range, where I was competing, I think, the following day. Or maybe 2 days later. I don't remember anymore. That's, I think, pretty much it. Yeah. They look like this towards that. It's a bit dark because it's indoor. But I think, you know, this is so nicely kept. I have to give them that. Really, really nice. So fun fact, that was old. Old memory lane. Old memory lane. Once upon a time. Once upon a time. Those coasters are a lot of fun to make. Only 4 rounds and they come out looking great. They do indeed. Did I even catch? It's just Yuan's pattern. Okay, cool. But yeah, they come out really great. Definitely. Just for a rewatch for those that didn't catch it the first time around. They definitely come out nice. That is for sure. Mm-hmm. How much are they weighing? Like, how much yarn did you approximately use? Or is it just scraps you happen to have enough of? We are almost at the end of this row. Rev is gonna check. Thank you. Like, or definitely make them with like a thicker cotton. But I'm like, if I have a few scraps I don't know what to use on, they could be a great project actually. That's a great idea. With the exception of I'm also collecting, obviously, for other scrap ideas. But I like the thought of it. 12 gram of full weight cotton. It's not much. It's like Aran-ish. Bit like similar to peaches and cream. Thanks. Those two are going with my wife to her office in a couple of weeks when she goes back. Always good to have a bit of reminding you of home, isn't it? At the office. My office is at my home, though. Well, I do also have the opportunity to go to the office in Amsterdam, but I'm like, not happening. No, it's a front post, Stina. It's a front post. It's not a regular. Like that. Much better. Oh, technically I need to go down there. That's why it looks funny. No. There. That was better. Peaches and Cream is 4-weight, and it was Loops and Threads, Michael's brand. Buy it, but any 4-weight will work. Yeah. Yeah, so that will work in perfectly with my hubby's 8/8 cotton or a similar 8/8 cotton in Europe terms. That was what I was looking for. Thank you. Rev, Susan is asking you what pattern you will be using for your bitty stripes that you just bought. Lisa says we're going to say for you it would be an 8/8 cotton. See, there you have it. Ta-ta. Indeed, it would be an 8/8 cotton. Let's see. I did. So I need to do regular front post, regular front post. I'd rather say he's going to make another corner to corner. I'm not sure if I will get around this on this live, but we are cracking on. Also slowly getting to a point where I probably need to check a fit, but I do recall that we talked about probably needing to do a bit more if we indeed wanted it to cover nicely on the front. Explanation is that Rev thinks the yarn just looks to be fantastic in corner to corner, which is absolutely fair. Susan says, I use the 5/2 corner to corner, says less holy. And Rev says the same. It sounds like you guys are definitely on the same page here. Ah, goodness, my yarn wants to tangle on my spindle. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I've never done much corner to corner. It'll probably happen one day. My mom does corner to corner dishcloths. So when she has leftover yarns or scraps that she can't use for whichever she's doing, she's making dishcloths. Fun facts. Corner to corner blankets work up super quickly. Sarah says, I'm familiar with corner to corner. What's the 5/2? So yeah, maybe Rev and Susan needs to explain that. I believe it's related to how they like the amount of stitches and stuff like that in the actual each tiny. Lisa says, I got informed on Saturday that I may need to do another yarn haul this summer. I wasn't planning on another yarn haul this year, but my daughter and hubby are trying for another baby, so another grandchild. Wow. I was told when I was in Denmark that our neighbors is getting a child in May. So either I should be in a hurry and get them something, or I should just be neutral. I don't think I have anything that would be suitable for, well, I could make maybe, but would I want to make a baby blanket is a real question because it takes time. Susan says chain 5 and not 6 and chain 2 and not 3. You chain 5 and work a double crochet into the bottom 3 chains. Then when you go to each cluster, you chain 2 before making your 3 double cluster. Yep. It was something along those lines. I just couldn't explain it well enough because, well, my corner to corner experience is limited. Rev says the bitty stripe Yana got is the Galaxy, and that looks like this, which is this when it's worked up. Ta-ta! I think a corner to corner would definitely be nicer than this, but that's me. Sarah says, I'll have to try that. Well, good luck, Sarah. Feel free to share with us what you find. For my grandson, I made him some cotton blankets. She loves them and he loves them, so she says she wants more if she gets pregnant again. Makes good sense. They should have their own, not share with their brothers or sisters. Corner to corner is one of those patterns that makes no sense until doing it super easy. I guess that feels a bit like when I just look at the waffle stitch, and now when I'm doing it, I'm like, it's actually super easy. We are still in for the Stina wants to attempt maybe making a waffle stitch punch at some stage. But I just have a few other projects to get done first, and I will have to get yarn for it. That will be the next thingy. We may have some yarn that could work for it, but I'm not sure if that's yarn I would like to use for it. That is two very different things. So if I end up trying to design one, it could be that I go for like this yarn because I kind of have experience with it now. Or if I want to make it thinner, but then I'll need some cakes. If you want an easy tutorial corner to corner, Yuan Diana has one that people love. Sarah has to run. She's a daughter that's coming home from preschool, but I hope you'll have a great day. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. It was wonderful to have you around with us, Sarah. We'll be here again on Wednesday. If you have time, feel free to join. Wednesday morning, I'm back. Definitely. It's not like I'm having a bunch of time either. So I'm definitely not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna finish this in 10 minutes. But we're trying to see how far we get. They have to have their own. My grandson's is a temperature blanket of the first year of his life. I started the day he was born and finished on his first birthday, which of course your new grandchild would need to have as well. Rev says final make was done during the beginning of this live. I had to go when I had to go just before. This is for the charity drive. Okay. It's a beanie. It's a very green beanie. Big twist in the color slime. Children's size or adult size? I would almost assume children's size actually, without knowing. I have plans for beanies too, but I definitely need just to get it done. So many things going on. It's for charity drive, yeah. Rev is being asked if Jan Diana still has his day job. I would assume he does. But Lisa says, love the color. It is a fancy color, the slime one. Rev says he's on a FMLA sabbatical so he can take care of his mother. Yeah, I hope I wouldn't need that anytime soon. That would be horrible. It's never good when people are sick. Family Medical Leave Act. Sorry for the acronym. Yeah, I assumed it was something along those lines. We also have rules for when you can take medical leaves to take care of families. It's also highly dependent on how closely related you are and stuff like that, if you're allowed to make use of it. I'm still having my day-to-day job with everything going on. And I need to figure out, like, at some stage I wanted to do some things, and it could be at some stage I may need to cut a little on the streaming again, because I'm running out of some daytime to do all of what I want to do. Hence why. Susan figured out something was different. Rev says his mother nearly lost all of her vision on top of being deaf, so now she needs a lot of extra help. Oh, that's sad. That would be horrible to experience as a person, especially if you once have had all your senses. Losing one is no fun. Anyhow, we are cracking along on this cake. If I will need to put a new one on to finish the project, I don't know. Then I'll need to cake it up if that's the case. But we still have a bit to go, as you can see. It was a 3.5 ounce cake to the beginning. Not sure how much is left, but less than half. I caked up the skein to be able to put it on the yarn spindle. I think it just works so much nicer in general on the yarn spindle. If you do center pulls, they either get you yarn bath or they collapse at some stage and will eventually end up in yarn bath. Where I think if you're able to cake them so you can work them from the outside in. They also keep their shape, like if you're not eating the whole cake, you can just like the rest is just kind of still nicely listed. Susan asked if I will finish the WaffleChic Shrug this month. I hope so, Susan. I actually hope I finish it this week. This month would still be a few more days, right? Because it's like until Tuesday next week. But I hope I finish it this week. It's until Tuesday next week, not this week, next week. I really hope I can finish it this week. That would be awesome. That's my goal. But if I can, who knows? It's probably going to be my priority next to when I'm able to knit. So like when I go behind the TV to watch, I'll be taking my knitting project, and also it's going to be this one we're working on. Probably do a fit later. Meanwhile, Lisa only has 3 more ends to weave in. Hallelujah. For getting closer to that. And I am only having this much to go. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, okay, let's finish this row. That's it. But I do believe I had calculated I needed way more rows to, a couple of more rows to even get close to where I needed to be. But it could be. It's not that many yet. So there is hope. I am optimistic we can finish it this week. That would be one more done of these advent calendar projects. I gave away the Days back to a friend as a thank you. She was so kind to give me a free pedicure, and that is her job. And I found that I should give something back. And she had been at our place and she had seen the bag while it was still in progress, and she was kind of jealous of my ability to craft this. So I felt it would make her happy, and it did. So she got the Days bag, which is like a tote bag with some granny squares. It is also getting time for bucket hats. It's getting summer. And I need to take some photos of some of mine, especially the Dutch one. I am gonna throw them on a Facebook site here in the Netherlands where a few people sell their crafts and makes. I'm going to see if I can maybe get some of my Dutch inspired hats sold there. That would be nice. Plus it will clear out some stash. I'm like looking, yeah, they look good. I'm just, you know, at some stage, then I go so mindlessly through my stitches that I'm like, am I actually doing the right stitches? And I'm like having to double check. And I am, so that's a good thing. We're actually almost there. So that is awesome. And yes, I think it's realistic to finish the shrug this week, which then means that we can start on something else. We can focus on the hat collectors because it is a big project. But I also have another vest that I need to make, and I need to craft buttons for that vest too. Mhm. So there's definitely a few special aspects for that. So, my friends, we're definitely getting closer here to something. We have 3 more rows added, but we're not there yet. I think we need another at least 3 rows to be remotely close. So that will be the neck area. Ta-ta! Other than all that, I've been working on a waffle wee stitch blanket. It has so much texture. Yeah, this definitely also have a lot of texture. And what my cousin said, oh, it's a bit thick. I'm like, yeah. Wasn't intended for summer use. If I want to do this for a summer usage, I should definitely use a different yarn. Then I should probably look into like the bamboo yarns or a cotton yarn, a light cotton acrylic blend, maybe even. Let's see if I do like this, that would work too. Ta-ta! It's a little bit thin there, but that works. It keeps track. That crochet hook belong there. Rev size is looking fantastic so far. If it's mine, thank you so much. I really like this blue though. It's awesome. You can see here where it started to be extended, but it's okay. That is okay. A 3-weight cotton would be nice. It could be nice, yeah, definitely. I also have, but I wanted to actually make a top from that. It's also like, I think it's a cotton, a tree fiber or something. It's a nice yarns. You'll see that when we go through it. It's very, very deep stuck in my stash, and I don't even remember the name. Rev says he met my project. Thank you so much, Rev. Thank you so much. Let's get up here and get to this view. Much nicer face. It's not so dark. I did actually get quite far through my tea. My friends, it's 5 p.m. here in the Netherlands. That means it is time for me to head off. I need to sort this desk because I made a mess of it. So I need to clean up my desk and I need to start getting started on dinner. I will be back on Wednesday, and that will be at 2 p.m. Central European time. So that is 3 hours earlier compared to the current time step. So that will be probably at like what 9 a.m. Eastern, I think, with the current time differences. Next week we are back on the normal time differences. Then my head is so much more on the what is time. But yeah, I'll be back on 2 p.m. Central on Wednesday if everything goes according to plan. So let's hope it will. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you are rewatching this live. Love you all. Take care and happy crafting. And if I don't see you on the next time, then I hope you see you in another video. Bye, everyone.